Good morning, everybody, or good evening, wherever you're at. Good night. I don't know what time it is. J.R. Fisher here, and it is 10 a.m. on a Wednesday, the 27th of April, 2022. Hey, we're going to have some fun today. We're going to talk about being creative, and you need to be creative too. How do you do that? You put something in that chat section. Ask me a question or put some comment or share what you're doing. Be creative. This is where we're going to start. We're going to talk about being creative today, but we're going to kind of look at the traits of a creative person and how you can become one. It doesn't matter what you are right now. That's irrelevant. What matters is that you follow some of these guidelines I'm going to give you today, and you'll be just as creative as the next person. You can use this stuff. Let me get my screen up here so I can see your comments. I've got them all set now. Feel free to put them in there. I'll talk to you as I'm doing this. And you can ask me any questions in there about starting, running, and growing online businesses. That's all we do on this channel. We don't sell you anything or nothing like that. I'm just trying to give you some information. I've done millions of dollars in sales on both digital and physical products online, and I share with you what I've done to get there. And if you want to do the same thing, you can do the same thing. Not that hard. Don't forget to subscribe. That's a really easy thing to do. Hit that subscribe button down there, turn it from red to gray, and don't forget to ring the bell. Turn on all bell notifications so you're notified each and every time I go live or if I upload a video. We got people streaming in now, so I expect some comments from you guys, okay? Put some comments in there. Let me know that you are around. Give me a thumbs up too. Click that little thumbs up. That helps a lot. And then I'm going to jump right into being creative. And I will tell you, I was never a creative person. As a matter of fact, in seventh grade, I flunked out of art class. That's how uncreative I was. Now people would tell me that I'm creative, that I'm a creative person. Now, why they would say that, I don't know, because I sold stuff online or I write emails or do sales pages. Paul says audio and video spot on today, brother. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Appreciate that input. And the rest of you guys, put some input in there. Don't make Paul do all the heavy lifting here. Be creative. That's what this is all about today. So like I said, I was never a creative person. I didn't know how to be creative. My dad and my sister both played the piano. My sister played the violin. She could do artwork. She could paint stuff. I thought, wow, she's so creative. And I never could. I just never could. I wasn't good at it. But what I didn't know is it's a learned trait. A lot of people think, well, some people are just born creative and some aren't. And that's just not the case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through like a list of different things and traits that people have. And then we can kind of talk about you being able to do those same things, because you certainly can. It's not that hard to do. You just got to kind of look at some of the things they've been doing and you can do the same stuff. It doesn't really take that much creative courage to be creative. It really just demands that you work on this thing, that you actively nurture and practice this thing. So I'm a salesperson. Okay, I sell stuff online and I create sales pages. I have to create descriptions of products. Heck, I have to come up with products that don't exist. I have to do that. But I found in order to do that, I needed to develop qualities of an artist, of what it is. Now, I'm not an artist. I can't do art or anything like that. But I kind of know what they do because I've been around them. I grew up around them, right? Let's see. Paul says, I personally have found that travel helps stimulate my creativity. Yeah, 100%. I love seeing things I can adapt to what I'm doing. That's very true, Paul. And the thing is, when you travel, when you see different things, you're hit with different things. You see different buildings and different plants and different food and people that look different and streets that look different and words that look different. And being exposed to that, you're 100% right, will really wake up your creativity. I've had some of my best creative moments, I guess, when I was on a trip going somewhere. I would seem to think of a whole lot of other things. So yeah, I would definitely suggest traveling. Now, the first thing is that you've got to, rattle cages. I'm going to say rattle cages in the beginning. You've got to understand, first off, change is a constant. People say, oh my gosh, I hate change. Well, then you hate life, because that's what life is it changed. In a natural world, in politics and business, the only thing that really stays the same is the fact that nothing stays the same, okay? It constantly changes. Some people will wait until they're getting into management or something like that to start doing things and start being creative. But the best thing to be creative is like right now, right at this moment. Sometimes my wife and I will just sit down and we'll brainstorm some ideas on stuff. And it's funny because before we sat down and decided to do that, we didn't have any ideas at all. But once we sit down and say, okay, we're going to start thinking about stuff. You think of somebody about Steve Jobs that started Apple, or you think about Elon Musk that started Tesla and he just bought Twitter. And I'm going to talk about that on Friday, by the way, guys. I'll be back on Friday. I'll be talking, everything will be Twitter. It'll be all Twitter on Friday and Elon Musk. So if you're interested in that, that's what we're going to talk about. But those people actually instigate change. I was in the automotive business for many, many years, 20 some odd years. And Elon Musk came along, and when I heard him talk and when I saw what he was doing, I think it was around 2015, I immediately bought his stock because I heard from him a difference that I had never heard in all those 20 some odd years I was in the car business. Nobody spoke like he spoke. Nobody attacked it the way he attacked it. He wasn't building cars. He had computers and he was going to put a car on top of it. That's basically what he did. And he did do that. And he's been very successful, and that stock's done me very, very well at this point. So the major difference between a great leader, somebody who's doing well, and the average person is that they're willing to do something rather than let circumstances dictate life for them. I hate that. I hate when people says, well, I'm just going to sit here, and if somebody comes around and they motivate me, then, hey, I'm going to do something. Well, what if somebody doesn't come along to motivate you? What if nobody ever shows up? Then what? Okay. Nothing's going to happen then. Paul says, I think cooking helps develop creativity by just working with a basic recipe and then massage the recipe. I totally agree with that. I love cooking. And you know that, Paul. I have a cooking channel, I'm not working on it as much as I should, but I'm going to have another video just edited from the Austin, Texas barbecue. So I think you guys are going to really like that. I'll have that up. I think asking questions of yourself to move the creative process along a bit. Yeah. And I do that a lot. I ask myself questions. I'll say, what about this product? What about this sales page? What about this email? What about this subject line? How can I change it? How can I make it better? All those things matter. The second thing that I think creative people do, and you can do this too, is tap into your own intuition. Tap into your own intuition. There are things that to be true and things that we kind of think might be true. Thanks to our education, most of us tend to lean on existing knowledge base to solve problems and make decisions. But you don't have to do that. The top most creative business people and leaders are those who realize that things they sense have possibilities, that they're just beyond the realm of the known. They hold a special value. Listening to this inner voice can really make you creative. And sometimes you got to just clear your head. You got to turn off the TVs, get rid of distractions. I mean, you could do it in your car in a parking lot, but just sit down and say, I want to think up some stuff on a particular subject. Maybe it's one of my sales pages. Maybe it's, a label on one of my cans. Maybe it's an idea for a new product. Whatever it is, I kind of tap into that intuition. What is it that I feel like would be good? What is it that I feel like would be good? It's super important to do that, to think of this stuff, to get this stuff going. So that's the second thing these people do. Are you doing that? Most of us have problems balancing logic and intuition because we're so leaning towards this logic thing all the time. But the truth is, those faculties aren't opposed to one another. You don't have to be logical or intuitive. You can be both. You can be both. In fact, you need to figure out how to get them working together if you're going to be truly a creative person. Being creative takes effort. You don't just sit on the couch and say, oh my gosh, I got great ideas. You sit down and go, I want to work on coming up with some great ideas. You actually have to spend time on this. You actually have to do this. I'm glancing through my comments, making sure I got them all there on the screen. And guys, if you haven't commented yet, hey, do so. Make sure you're commenting. Okay, that's super important that you do that, that we keep the conversation going. So intellect without intuition makes for a smart person without any impact on the world. So you could be a super smart person, but if you never created anything, then you don't really impact anybody or anything. Intuition, okay, having this intuition without intelligence makes a spontaneous person with no direction. We've seen those people, right? They're all excited, they're all motivated, they're going 50 different directions, but they never really get anything done. Okay, they never really get anything done. And I see this over and over again when people get online. They start so many things. I've seen channels on YouTube that will have 8 or 9 video. They got thousands and thousands of views, and they haven't posted anything in months or years. So they started doing something, and they were actually very good at it, and they just quit. Why is that? Now, maybe the person died in some cases, but for the most part, it's just that people quit. They quit. And the third thing I'll tell you is that creative people will move fast. If you come across an idea, don't second think it, okay? Don't second think it. Just get moving, start doing it. One of the biggest stumbling blocks for anyone trying to accomplish something is perfectionism. The need that they got to get it exactly right before they take it to the next step. Now, there is no such thing as perfectionism. I hear people all the time say, well, I'm a perfectionist. And I say, well, no, you're not, because you've never done anything perfectly, ever in your life. Now, you may try to do things well, and we should all try to do things well, but doing things perfectly is impossible. There is no perfection. What perfectionism is really is procrastination. It's just another word for it. You can say, well, I haven't started this because I don't have all this information. I want it to be just right. Well, that's because what? Because you just want to put it off. That's what it really is. So next time you're calling yourself a perfectionist, change the P word to procrastinator, because that's really what you're doing. And this may be a little bit harsh for some of you to hear, but it's the truth. And somebody may argue with me. They say, well, JR, I just want to do a good job. Then go ahead and do it. Do your best job. Do the best you can right now. It's not going to be perfect. The best leaders realize that perfectionism is impossible. And pursuing perfectionism often stands in the way of what's most important. And that is what? The other P word, progress. How much progress have you made? You're not a perfectionist. You're not. You're a procrastinator that's not making any progress. And you've got to realize this if you really want to move forward. Leadership and creativity requires making consistent strides. No matter how big, they can be small ones. They can be a little movement. And the quicker the stride, the greater the progress. You need to get into gear right now. Sometimes my wife and I will be talking about an idea, and I'll say, well, let's just do it right now. Let's just do it right now. Let's go ahead and do it right now. And neither one of us are prepared or ready or any of that. But if you think about it, you do so many things in life where you're not prepared. How many of you people out there had children? If you had a kid, you probably weren't prepared. I know I wasn't prepared when I had a kid coming along. I was like, gosh, I'm not prepared. And then I ended up getting a divorce when my kids were about 12 and 8, and I ended up with both of the kids. I was not prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for that, but I went ahead and did it. And that's what you've got to do too, is you just got to go ahead and do it. You got to quit putting things off. Don't buy into the notion that if you take a giant leap and if you spend enough time carefully mapping all of it out, then it's going to be perfect. It's not. You're still going to screw up. And as soon as you can accept the fact that you're going to screw up, that things are going to not go well, then you can move forward, okay? By the time you get going, if you're doing all this planning, others will have already leaped twice as far ahead of you if you keep waiting, and they've already taken that leap. But you spent months mulling it over and thinking about it. I've been online now for, 2009. I'm going on my 13th year. It'll be 13 years in November. And I've seen people that, after my first year, I would talk to them about doing something online, and they were all in. They wanted to do something. And to this day, they still haven't done anything. Nothing. Over a decade has passed and they haven't done anything. By the time you get going, if you're planning and planning and planning, people are going to beat you. Instead, just go ahead. Let things happen. Let things go wrong. Whatever. You're going to learn stuff. You will make mistakes, like I said, but in the process, you're going to learn quickly and you're going to keep moving. You're going to keep refining your skills. You're going to keep coming up with new ideas and new levels of creativity. Every time you try to start something, this is going to happen. I almost assure you of that. Let me get a sip of water here too. I've been talking for a little bit with no water. There we go. And don't forget, guys, use that chat section. Now, if you're not watching this live, you could put it in the comment section below. There is no comment section at this moment because this is live, but if you're watching it later, you won't know that. Anyhow, you know what I mean. So if you're watching it later on, put it in the comment section. I'm gonna come back and answer those. I was answering a bunch of them yesterday, and I think I got them all done. And then I woke up this morning and had a bunch more comments, which I appreciate it. Do it. Give me a bunch more comments. Number 4. Okay. Number 4 is they stick to their guns. They stick to their guns. Okay. Creative people stick to their guns. They don't ask, you know, what they need for themselves. They ask what the world needs. Okay. Ask yourself what makes you come alive and do that. Okay. What is it that you like to do? I love to do stuff online. I really do. I love creating stuff. Sometimes I got to push myself to get started. I'm not saying it's easy to always get started, but I am saying I like the results of it. The world needs people who have come alive, who've created things. You know, when Elon Musk came along, and you can love him or you can hate him, I don't care, but he's a creative person. You got to admit, he's a creative person, from the Boring Company to his artificial intelligence company, to his rocket ship company, to Twitter, to Tesla, to whatever he's touching. He's creative, okay? And there's something compelling about a person with this conviction that they're going to make things happen. Whether or not you agree with everything he or she represents, you got to admit, when you see people like that, you go, wow, you know, I think they're doing something, you know? Let's see here. I think Paul's got something in here. Creativity, like you sold, requires action. Oh, like you said, requires action. My screen's real far away in case you think I can't read well. How many times do you see a new project or idea and say to yourself, I thought of that a year ago? Man, that happens a lot, doesn't it? That really does happen a lot. And I've literally done that. I've seen stuff and I said, man, I thought of that. I just never did it. So it's really getting going and having that conviction. You know, Elon has this conviction of being able to do stuff that everybody tells him he can't do. They told him he could never start a car company and, you know, compete with the big three. They told him he could never have a car that had long range. They told him he could never have a battery that lasts very far. They told him he could never be a fast car. It could never be a powerful car. They told him he could never sell to the common person. And he came out with a Model 3 and he's made billions of dollars. Bottom line is, people are going to tell you all along the way that you can't do stuff. And it's usually the people who haven't done a thing themselves. That's usually the people. And they say this to you because they can't imagine it. They haven't done it. You know, conviction can be cultivated. This is something that you can come up with. And you say, well, I'm so unsure of myself, JR. I just don't have that conviction. You can get conviction. It starts with you individually. It starts with you creating things and doing things. While those who live with great conviction can always inspire you. Look at the people who already have conviction. Look at an Elon Musk, or look at a Mike Tyson, or look at whoever you want. And I know you can find things wrong with anybody I'm going to mention. I get that. But look at their inspiration. Look at their conviction. From there, you know, you can say, what makes me come alive? What can I do? From there, the gaps between who you are now and who you're going to become are going to change. I've watched people change over the years. I've watched my wife change. You know, she used to be a very shy person. Now she's very outgoing and she does videos and she's very successful. But you can fill in those gaps with action. Action will get you to fill in those gaps, guys. If you're concerned that, you know, you're not confident or any other thing like that, once you start doing stuff, you'll be confident. It's just going to happen. I would love to see how they hire people at SpaceX. Yeah, no kidding. It's like IBM had a process to find both creative, people, but also those that can take action. Yeah, and you know, I got to tell you, I've interviewed a lot of people over the years, literally thousands, because when I was in dealerships, I had hundreds of employees. And I think I developed a certain intuition into people. One question I would always ask them is that, you know, I'm going to ask you a question, and this is off the record, so you can just tell me the truth. And I could fill in anything I wanted after that, and they would tell me the truth. It was amazing. As soon as I said this is off the record, they would just tell me anything. I go, this is off the record. Do you do drugs? And they would tell me if they did drugs. This is off the record. Do you have any personal problems going on right now? And they would tell me what their personal problems are. It was just amazing what you could do with a few words that came out of your mouth. But I learned that over time. I stumbled onto all these things. And if I hadn't have done my first interview or my second or third, I wouldn't know how to interview. And I got pretty good at interviewing people. I got pretty good at hiring the right people. But this conviction that we talk about, these confident, creative people, they've cultivated it. The key to find this conviction is to get out there and just do something. You know, if you don't do something, it's hard to build this confidence and conviction because you don't have anything to base it on. Number 5. Okay, number 5 is a pretty big one. They don't only do what's expected of them. How many times have you seen somebody on a job and you say something about some work activity on that job and the person says to you, that's not my job. They don't pay me to do that. Now you think about that statement. That's not my job. They don't pay me to do that. When I was managing people, the people I promoted, the people I paid more money to, the people I gave bonuses to were the people that did more than their job. They did more than their job. And if you want to really get ahead in the world, you've got to do more than what's expected of you. The ability to come up with new ideas is a defining characteristic of great leaders and creative people. They're able to step out of their common view and imagine new possibilities and set the course for others to follow. That's another thing. Once you become creative, people will start to follow you. They're going to start to fall in line behind you because they're going to see you're a doer. Each of us has a tremendous capacity for originality. All of us do. You're creative. You just may not have put it into place yet. We're all unique, but activating it can be difficult. Why? Because our lives are full of other demands. Okay, and I get it. We got jobs, we got family, we got kids, and we spend most of our time and energy just trying to keep up. We feel like our head's just above water. But if you look around you and you start checking things out, is that you're going to figure out that you've got little bits of time here and there, little bits of time. You've just got to kind of carve them out. Maybe it's not watching that show tonight. Maybe it's not playing solitaire on your phone. Maybe it's not scrolling through Facebook. Maybe it's not reading, 1,000 tweets. You've got some time. You've just got to carve it out. In order to free up your own originality, you need to be willing to stop doing only what's required and expected of you and start doing things that you can do. Those things, those ideas, those projects that you keep putting back in your brain, and you've been doing it for years and years and years, those are the things that you need to start doing. There's never going to come a time when you'll be 100% certain you'll succeed. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. I get messages from people all the time, and they'll say to me, well, JR, I just want to know what I need to do so that I can get results right away. I don't know that you're going to get results right away. I just know that you need to get going. I would love to see how, oh no, I did that one already. Okay, what is this one here? I'm cleaning my work area to remove clutter, to decrease my distractions and immerse productivity as well as creativity. Paul, that is the biggest thing I did probably in 2014, 15. I don't have any paperwork on my desk. I take it back. I've got a couple pieces of paper over here that were some notes I had that I'm working on a book. But outside of that, I don't have paperwork. I got rid of paperwork. I don't have it anymore. If I get mail that comes in, I'll look at it and I'll either throw it away or I'll act upon it, or I'll take a picture of it and file it online. I don't have paper. I don't have it. Just don't have. I don't need paper. The funny thing is that when I literally say that, the only paper I have is maybe some money in my pocket, of which I never spend. I use my cards for everything because I get points. So I don't even do that. But yeah, getting clutter off your desk is very, very helpful. I've got my iPad here, my computer here, my bell. I've got to have my bell. I've got a couple of elephants over there, but the elephants bring in good luck. So my wife tells me she gave them to me, and that's it. And then I've got this mouse here and then my phone. That's it. That's all that's on my desk right now. And when I get done with this live, 90% of this will be gone. The bell will stay. My cup of water will leave. The computer and the iPad will go away. That's what I'll do. Let's see here. The one thing I do is not get stopped by some obstacles. Yes, the key is to do the next best thing. Be creative in using time pays off in both less stress and money. Yeah, and when you do stuff online, you will run into obstacles. I didn't used to have Cartra, and I'm a big proponent of Cartra. I talk about it all the time, but I got rid of 8 different pieces of software when I got Cartra. And one of the big reasons I got Cartra was that I could get rid of all these other softwares, because I was like integrating all these different softwares, like plus this and, tagging stuff and all these different things, but they had to integrate with another piece of software. And sometimes that would break and not work. And that would prevent me from moving forward. So what Paul's saying there is very, very true. If you have these things that are preventing you, and it could be a distraction like the kid running in and out of your office. Okay. Maybe you need to go to a coffee shop and work for 30 minutes. Maybe you need to turn off the TV, the radio. What are the distractions that are around you? What are the things, that are keeping you from doing what you need to do? Ultimately, the real difference between you and creative leaders that really inspire you is action. That's it. You've just got to start. You have to initiate that capability to develop the qualities that they possess. And the only way to do that is to get started. And it's to start having failures, and failures are okay. They are. It's like I said, everybody wants to ask me the simple way to get started and make money online. There is no simple way. The simplest thing to do is just get started. And they go, where do I start? I go, well, I don't know, throw a rock. Wherever it lands, start there. But you've got to just start. The key is getting started. Start today. Don't say, JR did this good training, and, I think tomorrow or Friday, I'm going to start doing this stuff. Why not today? Something. You got 5 minutes today, 10 minutes? Start today. Don't wait around until life demands something of you, because it will. If you have this open space, life's going to fill it up with something. It's going to be a car accident. It's going to be your car is going to break down. It's going to be your power goes out. It's going to be a storm and you have a flood. You're going to have problems to fill in any of those gaps. If you want to have less problems, fill in the gaps yourself with good, productive things. That's what I would leave you with today. Fill in all those gaps with good, productive things. What can you do today that's going to be productive? And I ask myself this question a lot. I'll be sitting there doing whatever I'm doing, and I'll say, is this a productive thing you're doing? Is this something that you want to be doing? Now, sometimes what I'm doing is relaxing, and that's what I want to do. That is what I want to do, and I can answer that affirmative to it. I'll say, yeah, I made $9,000 this morning or $50,000 yesterday on that sale. And yeah, I want to take 10 minutes and I want to do this thing, which is nothingness. Okay. But I don't want to do that all day long. Okay. Because then this guilt kind of rushes over me. It's like, you've been doing this too long. You've been scrolling on your phone too long, too long. There is a too long for everything. There's a too long to play with your kids. There's a too long to sleep. There's a too long to work. There's a too long for everything. Are you doing something too long? Ask yourself that question. Don't wait around until life fills in the gaps. You need to fill in the gaps. You need to be in control of that. Let's see here. I got a couple comments on here. All right, let me put Paul's up here. Paul says, speaking of creativity, I wonder how Elon put together the money to make $44 billion offer so fast. Mind blowing. It is, but one thing he did do, and I'm going to tell you there's two answers to this. The first answer is he didn't wait. He got going immediately. He didn't wait. He didn't say this is going to take some time. The next thing he had going for him is when Elon Musk walked into the bank and sat down and says, I want to talk to you guys about a loan. And the secretary went over to the president of the bank and said, hey, Elon Musk is out there, the richest guy in the world, the guy that's got the rocket company and invented the electric cars that actually work. He wants to talk to you. Okay, it didn't exactly go that way. It didn't exactly go that way, but it did. When Elon Musk calls you on the phone, you're probably going to take that call. You're probably going to take that call. You're probably going to listen to him because of why? He's already done action. Somebody who hasn't done action, you don't want to listen to. You just don't want to listen to him. Okay, somebody who wrote 50 books on a subject, you're going to go, wow, they probably know something about that subject. I don't know, Paul, if you know Kenji Lopez. He has a great cooking show, and he just came out with a book called The Walk. And he had a cooking book before that was 1,000 pages. And man, when you get his recipe books, cooking books, they're amazing. He's like a food scientist. And if you haven't watched him, Paul, I would highly recommend it. Put it in the comments there if you've watched him or not. Become productive, not just busy. That's another key thing. A lot of people say, well, I've been working all day long on my website, but I haven't done anything actually on the website. I've been doing research for it. I've been looking for images, and I've been trying to look at other people's websites. At some point, you got to work on your website. There is a too long for everything. Yeah, even that thing you're thinking of, there's a too long for that. There's a too long for everything. So, what Paul's point is, maybe you're spending too long on something, maybe you're doing that, keeping just yourself busy, just doing stuff back and forth all day long. You feel productive and you're not really productive. I haven't seen him. Can you add a link? Let me see, Paul. This guy is amazing. He's amazing. You're going to look at him and you're going to say, who is this guy in his bare feet with a GoPro hooked to his head? But if you look at the book, The Walk, look on Amazon for that book, and I could send you a link to it. But let me just pull this up for you, Paul. Kenji Lopez. I'm going to find the name of his channel. Kenji Lopez Alt. Okay. That is his channel. So let me put this in here. It is J, and I got to reach for this, guys. My computer is really a long ways off. You wouldn't believe my setup. Kenji And I want you to tell me what you think about this guy, Paul, but you got to watch a few of his videos because at first you're going to think he's just some home cook. He doesn't know what he's doing. When in fact, he really knows what he's doing. All right, there it is. I'm not talking about his politics. I don't agree with his politics, but I do agree with his cooking, and he is amazing. So check out Kenji Lopez for his cooking. He's got 1.1 million subscribers. He's got 341 videos. And of course, I am subscribed to it. And I'll pull up his picture here. This is Kenji Lopez, if you can see that there. There's the guy. That's the guy you're looking for right there. I think you'll be amazed by him. I really do. In his book, The Walk, every chef has put some type of comment that it's the greatest book ever about walks. And what's funny is his first book was all about cooking and cooking different styles and all that stuff. And he said at the end of that book, he never really talked about walks. He never talked about how important they were to him and growing up and how to use them and how they're used around the world. And he wrote a book called The Walk. The entire book is, a matter of fact, guess what I happen to have on my desk? Hang on. This book is heavy. Oh my gosh. This is the book I'm talking about right here. This is the book. This is the definitive book. If you can see, it's very thick. It's a hardcover book. This is action, guys. This is action. I've never seen a chef do what he's done. This book is 658 pages. The Walk. Get The Walk. And I think I have a link to it somewhere. But if not, I'll get you a link to it. Great book. Great book. I mean, it's just, you can't read it all, though. There's so much information in it. All right, let me get Paul's comment off of there. So that's what I got for you today. Do you feel more creative already? I know I do. Now I want to go do something. Now, it's funny. People say, well, how do you stay motivated to do all this stuff? I'm like, because I listen to myself. I listen to myself every day. I'm having to come up with something, to motivate other people or get other people successful. And when I hear all that stuff, I'm like, well, that makes me want to do it because I'm forcing myself to do stuff for other people. It makes me do it myself. And it's kind of a backwards thing, but it works for me. If you have any last questions, comments, anything, put it in that chat section now. Even if you're not watching this live, make sure you come back later, use that comment section, put questions in there. Tell me who you are. Tell me what you're working on. Be specific. I got a comment this morning from a guy. He says, I have to support my entire family. I need to make money online. What should I do? Yeah. How am I going to answer that? I don't know. I don't know. Do you want to drop ship? Do you want to do a blog? Do you want to be a freelancer? Give me a specific question, and I love getting comments, but you can't answer that. You can't answer. There's no way to answer that question because I don't know what he likes. I don't know what he wants to do. I don't know anything about the guy. Okay. Or girl, I don't even know who it is. All right. So how am I going to tell him what to do? Yeah, be more specific if you ask a question. It'll be very helpful. Now, on Friday, we're going to talk about Twitter. We're going to talk about Elon Musk and what the heck is going on. If you're interested in that subject, come on back. I'll be here at 10 o'clock on Friday morning. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting session. I think you'll get a lot out of it. It's going to be cool. I promise you it's going to be cool. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. Hit that thumbs up real quick. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Turn it from red to gray. And what I mean by that is when you click it, it actually changes colors. And then once it changes colors, there's going to be a bell that pops up next to it. It's going to look something like this. Not quite like this, but something similar to this. You want to ring it. What do I mean by ringing it? I mean, click on it and there's a drop down that says get all notifications. That's what you want to do. That way, when I go live or I upload a video, you'll be notified. You'll know all about it. Okay. So that's what you need to do to keep moving forward. Hope everybody is having a great day. I do want you to be kind to everybody out there. Try that today. Just be kind to everybody and look at the reaction you get when you're really nice to a stranger or somebody in your family that you're not nice to now. Try being nice to other people. If you've been watching this Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing, they weren't nice to each other. They just weren't. There was no way that could work. They weren't nice to each other. You got to be nice to each other. So very important. Guys, we got a limited number of years. I posted something the other day. And I think it was said, I can't think of my own sayings, but enjoy yourself, right? It's getting later than you think. Enjoy yourself. You guys have a good day. I'll see you on Friday. Thanks for being here.